And welcome to Talking the Gridiron Week 18 recap show here. And what a wild card weekend preview here, probably in the same way as we get everything going on. We'd love to get your comments here on Variety Sports Network. I got Jimmy Pilato here far into the bench. I got Jordan Max here, Variety Sports Network. Gentlemen, we put a lot of work this season. We're here at the end now with it. A lot of good stuff to get into today. A little drama. We'll get into that right away as well here. Jimmy Pilato, we talked a little bit this morning on the tailgate. Now we're doing the post-tailgate. We're both still standing. I guess that's the good thing if we're doing the tailgate like we usually are. So how are we doing, Jimmy Pilato, out there? Week 18, sir. We made it.
We made it. I feel a little bit I feel like I cheated a little bit because I did get that break during my cruise. It wasn't that much of a break because there was a sports bar. So guess where I was most nights? It's either that or the karaoke bar. Everybody knew the guy at the karaoke bar had my order down before, like he'd see my glass start to get a little bit low. He's like, "Hey, I got you. Don't worry." Just had to bring up my card and he would swipe it. So, well, I wouldn't be tailgating quite that much since the cruise. I'm happy that it's over. I don't have to deal with it anymore. It sucks the way that it ended, but yeah, I guess there's stuff to look forward to next year. But man, 2 games where we could have had it. If we just win one of those 2 games, we're sitting possibly at the 7 right now. We're the 8. We have tiebreakers over AFC teams, believe it or not. We didn't go winless in the division. I thought we were going to go 0 for 6.
Did that, Brownie? Did that? I heard his girlfriend's getting a lot of attention. I saw that for her bobsled team outfit there, so she's getting a little bit there. Hey, Jordan, help me out. Jimmy, you're on there. Is it still 14-7? Bills, are they getting into the end zone here late?
Bills
still
14-7. The Bills are knocking on the door at the 10-yard line. So
they don't have time. It's over. Half's over.
Is he going to 14-7 now? Halftime will kind of, as joining us, hopefully, talking the gridiron here as you're entering halftime there on NBC. Glad to have you with us. Got a lot of people in the chat right now. Again, feel free to comment in as we go along with the show here. Bills, Dolphins right away right there. Bills don't have to. It's not a do or die, Jimmy, right? Like we talked about this morning with them getting eliminated in the playoffs, but they get that 2 seed. You get that 2 home games in a row. I would think this game means quite a bit. Yes, you are in the playoffs regardless. But the fact that you get those 2 home games, I would think that would still mean a lot to these teams. So we'll see if Miami can hold on here.
It's a choice from playing Buffalo, Buffalo playing Kansas City in Kansas City, or if they win, they're the 2, they get to host Pittsburgh. And I don't know, Pittsburgh to me is a paper right now. I don't – their defense is what's held them. I know. Don't mess with a terrible towel.
No, you know better than that. Hey, let's get it. Let's kick the show off.
TJ Houshmandzadeh lives forever in his cleats with that.
TJ, the Oregon ex-Oregon receiver there. Got TJ out. There's that Oregon State, maybe. Jaguars choke the division, though. Let's go right there, gentlemen. That's the star of the show today. Sunshine doesn't get the job done out there, Mr. Lawrence. A lot of things now on. It's going to be on his plate this offseason. It's going to be a lot of talk about this guy being overrated. Not getting the job done. And I would say in some ways they might deserve it. 5 out of 6, they go out losing here below a very winnable AFC South. Credit to the Texans. We talked about them a little bit this morning. Obviously, they played their way to that, putting pressure on the Jaguars, winning the 10 games. But come on, this is a Jaguars choke job right here. They had the more talent in the division. They were set up to win it this year, and they could not get the job done. You lose to a Titans team that's been in shambles all year. I know it's Henry's going away party, but my goodness, you lose to Tannehill too. Jimmy, this is just awful.
It wasn't a great finish. It's not good for them because this was the year they had the schedule to do what they were doing. They weren't able to hold themselves accountable. It's like they were taking those steps to finally not losing games, but they took a step back this year. So they're going to have to regroup. I still think Peterson and Lawrence can work. They had too many times where they were not putting it together, or they thought, oh, we'll flip the switch. We're the Chiefs from 2018. We'll go down 10 points. We'll spot you 10, and then we'll make a big comeback. And they couldn't even do that against the Titans today. They had big plays too. Like they came close. So if you didn't
spot your opponent, they had Ridley in there at the end, kind of through the fingertips.
You shouldn't have given up a touchdown and put yourself behind like that.
Let me ask you this, gentlemen. How much of that do you think is Lawrence's health? Because that kind of came into question in the broadcast booth afterwards. Was he really? Should he have cleared concussion protocol and things of that nature that quickly during the season, or do you think it just came down to flat out being out?
5 out of 6, Jordan. 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6. I mean, that's a lot of games to blow at the end. I mean, I also kind of, the scouting reports on him early. Maybe he needed a little bit longer arms there. The measurements, we need a little longer there. They're going to tighten it up there, Jordan. I don't know. That's a good point. And I think going forward with him in the offseason, right, he's going to have a ton of pressure. The coach, Peterson, I think he's a good coach, but he wasn't able to get the job done today as well. Houston, again, they just kind of – I don't want to say they steal it because I feel like they kind of push their way to make Jacksonville have to win. But it really just, for me, feels like a Jags. It just feels like a big choke job on their side. Like just not a 5 out of 6. Ugh. That's disgusting right there. That doesn't feel good. And then losing to the Titans at the end. I mean, you can't go. That's a rough way to go out.
Losing to a banged up Titans team, not even a fully together team. That says a lot. Kind of where the Jags organization is. They spend the right money. They do the right things. They have the talent. We just haven't really seen it put together for one whole season. You see big time flashes. You see him in prime time. Lawrence does and says all the right things. ETN looks good when they use him. I think some of the run game kind of fell apart there at the end of the year.
Did, yeah.
But when you're playing from behind, you got to drop back. And Jimmy knows this as a Bengals fan. You got to drop back 20, 30, 40 times to play catch up. And that just defenses become one dimensional, and they tee off on their O line, and you can't stop what you dictate. So.
And it was interesting, Henry, after the game, giving the speech, like he was out. It was just it was different. You'll see that very often. 8 years there.
Little Mickey Mantle-ish.
Grabs the microphone. He's out there talking. So we'll see. Maybe he calls it quits. We'll see what happens. But I don't think he does. But it was kind of weird. You don't see that every day from him. All right, let's go to the other Southern. The 2 grand slams and a single here. They win 9-0 over the Panthers in just I don't know. It wasn't a very pretty game. Ugly game, 9-0. Third straight year, though, they win the division now. Third straight year. The Saints, they beat the Falcons. It ends up meaning nothing because of the Bucs winning it. There was a little drama, though, at the end of that game with Big Arthur getting in Allen's face. We kind of briefly touched on that before we came on here. But it's kind of funny to me. You mentioned Allen kind of being a pushover. He is. What he says, he was like, "Oh no, it's all right. I shouldn't have done it." And then
Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me, please. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to score 41. I just wanted to stay at 36, but they wouldn't listen. I couldn't stop them. You see how big those guys are?
I love Jameis Winston's answer the best. His is just like
it's the Billy Madison. Nowhere in that rambling, incoherent statement was there any semblance of an answer to my question. Everybody in this room is dumber for having listened to you.
I'm gonna play the first 15 seconds for it here. Yeah, just give me just a second to get it up. I feel like it's worth it.
I apologize to DA because the play was victory. But I also explained to DA that it was a team decision. And I think when you have a team morale, and I asked the guys, I said, guys, like, what do you want to do? We know how much Jamal means to this team, and I understood from DA's perspective. So I give him that.
I just think it's hilarious to me that I love it that it's from DA's perspective. Like they basically it was a team decision. We like the play call, but it's a team decision here. We're gonna run a go route here. We're gonna run.
It was supposed to be a kneel. It was supposed to be a kneel, but I decided I haven't played much today. I want to throw a touchdown pass.
But so proper. But I get it, DA. I get it. I mean, if that's not a guy how do both those coaches not get fired from the? I mean. The Bucs win the division, but it's now my question to you guys. I have it kind of down here as we kind of, if you want to wrap anything that's still whole of this division is, to me, who's the most disappointing? Is it the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers there? Let me hold on real quick before I get to that. I got our guy on, C-Hen here. We got him joining us here. What's up, C-Hen? How we doing?
What's going on, man? Good evening.
Let's do it. Let's do it here, man.
Sorry for my tardiness. I'm sorry.
It's all right. You got the shame chair today. You got the shame. You got that one today. You got to sit down. It's good to have you on, man. Glad you could join us.
Man, glad I can just stay awake this long, man. It's a late night for me, but hey, man, I'm here, man.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you spending some time with him. We'll get you through here with it here shortly. In and out here in an hour, my friend. We kind of talked a little bit about the Jags. We're talking a little bit about the AFC South or the AFC
NFC.
South there. NFC South now here. I was saying who is more disappointing. Let's get your thoughts on it first. Then I had Saints, Falcons, and I threw the Panthers in there just because 2 wins and like now you don't even get the number 1 pick in the draft. So if out of those teams, which one do you is a little bit more disappointing?
I think it's somewhere between the Saints and the Falcons. I think coming into the season, I felt like the Saints probably had a playoff level defense, if you will. And with Derek Carr being kind of an experienced starter, they had solid pieces on the offensive side of the ball. You had Alvin Kamara, you had Chris Olave, and you had, again, some solid pieces to build upon. And for them to come up short in a division that was basically a division full of rookie quarterbacks and bad defenses, I would lean a little bit more towards the Saints. I was unsure of Desmond Ridder in Atlanta.
That's fair. That's fair. What do you think there, Jimmy? What do you got?
I think the way the season went and everybody was trying to sell, like snake oil, sell Desmond Ridder at the beginning of the season, and it just never got to that point. So I would say that Atlanta, because it was right in your hand. You had a lead on the Saints. You had a lead on the Bucs at one point. You couldn't beat either of those teams down the stretch. And not only do you not make it competitive today, you have to have your coach out there at the midfield, like talking smack to try and back you guys up. Dude, you're professionals. You get paid a lot of damn money. Keep the guy out of the end zone. Whatever play they call. Who lays down in an NFL football game? Except for Doug Peterson a few years ago with Philly, but that's another question. He should have been put in jail for shaving points, but come on, man. You can't lay down. You can't expect somebody's not going to take every advantage to score some points, run up some stats on you. You were getting mopped. That's what happened.
And we just heard Jameis Jordan there. It was a team decision there. So what do you got, Jordan? Who do you got with it? Saints, Falcons, or Panthers? More disappointing there for you.
It's a hard coin toss between the Saints and the Falcons.
Yeah.
I never believed in the Falcons' offense to gel in one year, just because of a lot of the youth movement and the high draft picks that came in. So to me, it'd be the Saints. The Saints were more established. They had, Mike Thomas was getting a little bit healthy. Chris Olave was coming in with a lot of hype. Derek Carr had playoff experience coming over from Oakland. So to me, they had more pieces together to make a run in what should have been and ended up being a weaker division. So in my book, it was the Saints division to lose all day. I really didn't believe in the Bucs. Baker Mayfield brought kind of a cloud of media, and that he was competing with Trask and Camp, and they were both missing the nets.
Yeah.
So to me, it's definitely the Saints.
John out of your Falcon mind, they did the. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Man. It comes to an end. It's an easy answer for him, of course, out there in Atlanta. Sorry, guys. It wasn't the year, but they do a great job of their show. Be sure to check them out. I think they're going to be joining us next week for the playoff episode, so that'll be good. Can I throw the Panthers? My last thing with them would be, like I said, 2 losses. 2 Young didn't look very good. You had Stroud play good, and then you lose the number 1 pick, and then you have an owner that looks like he's out of his mind.
I was going to say
not a good.
That's got to be the worst thing about being a Panthers fan, because you got the money now, you got the financial backing, but this guy's
you got moron. This guy. He obviously can't take a little trash talk from there. So all right, and let's get to the team that really matters. The team that matters the most. So he's out there in the north, out of Michigan, the Detroit Lions. They win today. Little injury though, maybe to Mr. Laporta. It looks like he's probably out that first round, maybe out longer. We don't have the report on it fully yet, or I haven't heard yet. Maybe you can give me some breaking news on that. I also have it on here at the Browns kind of resting their starters. They get the win over the Bengals. So as I kind of get into this question for you guys, trust the Lions or Browns to go a little farther in the playoffs. I kind of find both their franchises kind of similar in a way, like in the sense that they haven't had much success over a long period of time. Now they've kind of got it, both a little different the way they got to it this year. See, Henry, let's start with your Lions there. Give us the kind of report on why maybe we should have a little bit more trust in the Lions and how you're feeling going into this playoffs, even with this Laporta news here.
Mm-hmm. Listen, man, I'm after the Laporta news, man, I'm kind of iffy on who to trust in this situation. You look at us. It's going to be a great game with against the Rams next week.
Yeah.
Great storyline. Sunday night football, him coming back, golf versus the LA Rams. Brad Holmes, formerly of the LA Rams, now the GM here now. Our offensive line versus Aaron Donald. It's going to be a great, great game. We don't know what's going on with Laporta right now. It's been reported that it's a bone bruise right now, a hyperextension, sprain, no torn anything. The expectation for me personally is that he's probably not going to play, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe our trainers will get the Mr. Miyagi hands out, and they can rub a little something nice on there, but we'll see. But home game, we're extremely excited about the game here as fans. I think when you look at the players, I think Jared Goff is probably going to be the most focused that he's probably been, going to be very, very locked in. We're playing in a controlled environment, which he does very, very well. And our run game, I think, you look at them defensively, they're a solid team, surprisingly, well in some areas, but they can be run on. You can score points on them, and it has the potential to be a track meet. So definitely looking forward to it. And we're going to definitely see a lot of NFL big-time storylines coming from this game.
Hey, I was listening to your pod this week, and you mentioned how you were you understood how Campbell can be aggressive. Like, you get that. But you also mentioned how it can be, you're like, come on, man. Sometimes, like, you have to kind of feel out the game a little bit and just take the 21-21 tie when it's there.
Man. That is like the gift and the curse with me and Campbell. I like him, but I don't love him because I think he's still growing a lot in his terms of his decision-making as a coach. I understand his aggressive philosophy, and I think it does, it does have, it's a place for it, if you will. It's a place for it, if you will. But he needs to sometimes play conventional as well. And I think that what's key for us is to play complementary football. We don't have the greatest of defenses. We've got some solid young talent over there, but it hasn't quite, I'm not going to say it hasn't quite gelled. It hasn't quite grown up yet. And we're still getting better on that side of the football. So at times you don't want to put that unit in bad spots. And sometimes when you're over aggressive, when you go for it on fourth down, when you do the fake punt stuff, and it does not work. Yeah, when it works, hey, great, you're a genius. It looks, fine. But when it doesn't work, I don't think you think about the negative impact, because sometimes those things, basically feel like a turnover to us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the Dallas game, and again, that was a game where there was, a lot of things on the line for us. We could have possibly been a number 2 seed. Early in that game, you go for it on the drive early in the game. I forgot exactly where we were field-wise, but we go for it. Maybe we're somewhere within the 30s. You know what I'm saying? We go for it. We get it on fourth down. Okay, now you get it down within the 10-yard line. You don't have to go for it again, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean.
You don't have to go for it again. We got it. Let's take these points. It's the first quarter. We'll get out of here. That feels like a win. But now we get down there. We don't get the points, and now it feels like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that impact he doesn't think about a lot. I think that when we're looking at this game about the Rams, I'm more worried about it being a tight game and him having to make crucial decisions than I am really Stafford versus our defense. I know Stafford is going to get his. Fair. It's going to be up to AG to really, really put together a scheme that's effective. We're going to have to get Stafford off his spot. We're going to have to put some pressure on him. But I understand Stafford is who he is, and he's going to throw for 300, probably a couple touchdowns. We're hoping that he makes a mistake or two. But when he does that, can we capitalize? That's going to be the key. And if it is a tight game, can my coach control himself? Can he control himself?
20,
don't
go
do
for
anything
it
stupid that's gonna hurt our team. That's all I can say, man.
He's the Madden guy, man. He's like the guy. I was talking to Tyler. He goes, because he plays online still, and he's like, no, they go for it. Everybody goes for it no matter what. It's like, so he's like, it's Campbell.
That's who he is. That's who he is. Like, it's a Madden game.
That's hilarious. Jimmy, who you got? Browns, Lions. Who you trusted more? Go farther.
I love the Lions and the way that they play, the way that they're built. I can't wait to see Frank Ragnow, Aaron Donald. As a former offensive lineman, I'm excited for that. The defense and it seems like they're always just in close games. I thought they should have ran away from the Vikings today. I know that the Vikings have a different defensive scheme and there were some other things. And when guys started to get hurt, I was just saying, just get the hell out of there. Get out of there. If you can win this one, great. However it happens. I like the way that they're winning these close games, but you should be able to beat these. They're talented enough. Their offense is what they are. And if you do the scheme, if you play both sides of the ball to their strengths travel. Their strengths are what playoff football is all about. You need to be able to run the football. You need to be able to hold the line of scrimmage on defense. I think that they're set up. I'm interested to see if this week off is going to affect Joe Flacco. And I think the Browns defense is going to be the thing that nobody's prepared for in the AFC. So if I'm going to put a stamp on it, I guess I'm going to say the Browns are a little bit more. I trust them a little bit more because that defense, Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, all the guys that they had out today that the Bengals took advantage of, they're going to be playing for as long as they're healthy, and they're a damn good defense when they're all healthy.
Jordan, Lions, Browns. Who you trusting there?
Kind of touching on what Jimmy said, the Lions look great. They're a great story. They have a phenomenal offensive line. But, I know Goff's been deep in the postseason with L.A. when it's time there. But
Yeah.
I got to go with the Browns. And I'm going to shout out to Doug Stevens, one of the hosts of here on Variety Sports Network. We kind of go back and forth. But I go for the Browns. They are built for playoff football. They have a phenomenal run game. They have one of the best offensive lines, even though they've been dinged up. They have one of the best defenses in the league. Their secondary, they play man coverage almost 72% of the time, which is the highest in the league. So they leave their guys on corners. They trust their pass rush. They have a lot of good things going for them. Joe Flacco has Super Bowl winning experience, playoff experience. He's been in the league, so he came off the couch. I only worry about his.
Could you imagine if Flacco gets another Super Bowl, though, Jordan? 2-time Super Bowl champion. I'd be like, I just can't.
Hall of Famer.
The only thing I caution on is Flacco's had a lot of turnovers. Why he does have 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks, he also has 9 interceptions. So he's kind of doing early Jameis Winston thing right now. But I think they'll self-correct it. I think you'll see a lot more run game, a lot more screens. And I think the Browns, 5 different quarterbacks, and you're going to the playoffs.
It's not bad.
That's unheard of. I don't think we'll ever see it again. So give me Cleveland.
It'll be fascinating. Those are two of the more interesting games. I don't think like Houston Browns like jumps off, but just kind of like the way those teams throughout the whole season have played. It's kind of an interesting matchup. The sexy matchup, of course, is Detroit and LA there. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've been trying to check.
I don't know. I like that. I like that game, man. I like that Houston game because, again, Houston is a very I guess we can relate because they're a thirsty fan base as well. And they're going to be very, very excited, man, about this playoff game. And there's a lot of great things going on in Houston, man. We got the national championship game back there in Houston tomorrow. They just had I was just out there for the Final Four. So a lot of great energy going on out there in Houston, man, and they're going to be fired up. Browns, hey, man, they haven't been here in a while themselves. So again, man, Flacco win even get to a Super Bowl.
I know.
In 2 separate damn near decades, it seems like, man. Come on, man. Hey, that's Hall of Fame, man. That's Hall of Fame.
He gets it. Him and Eli, they do it. They pull it out. They get it. Like I said here, a little note. It did come true, people. It is a tradition like none other. The AFC South team does play their first game. They get the Saturday AFC. They're going to play against Cleveland. Detroit, little breaking news. That will be the Sunday night game, 5 o'clock.
Sunday night, baby.
Against Los Angeles. Green Bay is going to play Dallas Sunday afternoon. The Monday night game will be Philadelphia at Tampa. So that's the kind of the early little breaking news as we kind of look at the schedule there through it. Kind of get through a couple games here quick, then we'll move on to question of the week. Packers, they beat the Bears. We talked about it was big. Love could not lose this game with Rodgers, Favre, and then you can't lose to the Bears at home, be eliminated from the playoffs. Like you said last year, the Lions knocking them out. Like you said, Jimmy, last year, you can't have that same aura around you if you're this new quarterback supposed to take over. So they get in as a 7 seed. Cowboys, they crush the Commanders. The Giants, they crushed the Eagles. The security guard, who knew he mattered so much? We knew it. He mattered. He mattered more than we thought. The aura.
Building.
He gets it. What's been the problem, CN? What's been the problem with the Eagles? What's up? Why aren't they getting the job done anymore? I don't get it. Is Dallas and do I have Dallas? Can they break the curse finally?
You know what, man? I don't know, man. I thought it was kind of like, there was a lot of turnover there. When you look at both coordinators, even for head coaching jobs, they took some hits, especially defensively. Their linebacking core was pretty much wiped out in free agency. I thought it was just that, man. But the way that they have been performing on the field the last couple of weeks, you would think that a team like them, as savvy as they've been with the draft, as savvy as their GM is, that they would be able to overcome a lot of these problems as the season progressed. But this is kind of signaling that there may be an issue in the locker room that goes beyond the field. We're hearing about Sirianni possibly losing the team. I'm not, anywhere near that area. I don't have boots on the ground there anywhere, so I don't know of any internal turmoil, but just the body language there, the team not responding like they did last year, it's kind of leaning to maybe there's an issue in the locker room. And then today, I didn't see, I didn't get any updates, but there were some key injuries. I think AJ Brown went down.
Yeah.
I think Devontae Smith did not play in this game, right?
Yep. But Brown got hurt, and then the safety, they had a safety go down too as well. So they you're right, and then Hurts, I think, got a dislocated middle finger or something like that. So
Hurts hurt his finger, and he already was nursing a knee. Now they're going to have to go on the road next week somewhere. So look, hey, the Super Bowl participants this year is looking kind of shaky for them.
They get the Bucks that first game Monday night. That's not the worst matchup for them in that game, considering their struggles. That will be an interesting one. I mean, Philadelphia at Bucks. I would think Philly would win that one, but I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know. We'll see if Baker Potato has something up his sleeve.
I was about to say if Baker shows up, one of the Achilles heels of the Eagles has been their secondary. Mike Evans is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like him or not, he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver, having a great year. Got Godwin over there. They got a couple other players, Trey Palmer. Rashad White's been looking good. I mean, it's not the toughest matchup, but this is the playoffs, man. I think anybody and everybody, there aren't too many bullies on the block. The team that we thought was the bullies, the 49ers, they just got they got bullied the other day. You know what I'm saying? And they've lost 3 games in a row once upon a time this season. So any given Sunday, man, we can see somebody get popped.
And I think Hurts, if I'm not mistaken, I think his first year in the playoffs, he lost at. I think Tom was obviously the quarterback of the Bucks, but I think they lost in Tampa Bay his rookie season there. When they go on, Jimmy, Eagles there too. They're kind of drop off, but also Cowboys. They get the Packers. Is there any way Love pulls off a little upset here? I mean, they Rodgers miracle sideline catch. Can we get part 2 somewhere along here? Is there any magic up their sleeve? I mean, could you imagine Dallas? This is a game that you don't lose a game like this if you're but do they?
They've been able to make it out of the wild card. It's not to say that the divisional round is going to go any better. I think that the Cowboys, until they are always liable for some kind of an upset at every round of the playoffs because it's such a single game thing. And you had Mike McCarthy, and I know Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl, but he had a Hall of Famer at quarterback there, and he put him in better situations. I don't know what it is, but the play calling in the playoffs for the Cowboys has been their downfall for the last 2 seasons. Quarterback draw with 15 seconds left, just not putting yourself in the right spot. And honestly, as much as people, I think Pollard's done great. He's an explosive running back, but they missed Zeke near the goal line. Zeke was a touchdown scorer within 3 yards. That's not Tony Pollard. That's not his game. He's not been that big enough running back to bust through and take out a goal line defense. I think that's what's going to kill the Cowboys at some point in the playoffs. I still don't have faith in them to go. If they make it to the NFC Championship, I will say whoever plays them has a at least 60-40 chance of beating them and making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like I said, that whole division, Jordan, me was just like, because at the beginning of the year, it's pretty. I felt like the confident was Eagles. I thought that was just what were they? What were they? Were they 10-1 at some point? But they were kind of winning a lot of close games throughout the year. And then to your point, CN, it does feel like something a little deeper, and you don't know to what level, but there definitely does seem like there's either offense isn't feeling defense, or somewhere along the line there's a coach thing that they're not liking there. You can just kind of feel that along with it. All right, question of the week here as we keep the show moving here on Talking the Gridiron. We're gonna pivot. Right, a little college football here for a second. We did this a couple of weeks ago as we got to the playoffs. And we said it's Talking the Gridiron, baby. We can get into more than just NFL here once in a while. All right, C-Hen, you got in the background there, right? We got your boy.
You see it, baby.
Monday night. Monday night. My joke is the championship game. It's a 5-hour affair, so make sure you're ready for it. You're going to be up for 5 hours watching the game, but in the West Coast, it doesn't matter here. I'll be up there. We'll end early.
Oh yeah, you'll get done at 7 o'clock instead of 6:30.
I don't know how you guys in the East Coast. I remember one Alabama Clemson. I'm like, that game probably was 1:45. It ended out there. Your guys' time, it was insane. So
I'm hearing some folks complain about why it's so early. At 7:30, I guess Eastern Standard Time. I'm like, yeah, they got tired, man. These 9 o'clock games, man. It's no longer during the New Year break. So now we got to go to work tomorrow, man. So hey, man, you got to pull it back a little bit. But I feel sorry for you guys. It's like 4:30 on you guys' time, right?
I know. I'll still be at basketball practice for that before it even starts there. See, who you got then? I mean, obviously, I know you're going to pull towards the Wolverines.
Yeah,
out here, Pac-12 though. Could be the Pac-12. How do you feel about Washington a little bit with going against such a different team than everybody else that you face?
Very good team, man. Very good team. And to be honest with you, I am worried. I don't think it's going to be. We're gonna I think it's going to be possibility of a convincing win, but I don't think we run away with it. I think Washington presents a lot of unique challenges for us. Probably the most explosive offense that we faced all year. They have, 3 great wide receivers. Michael Penix, we saw him in the Big Ten. He actually beat us, and I think 2 years ago when he was at Indiana. So, he made some magic happen at Indiana, 340-something yards of passing, 3 touchdowns in that game. I think he did some damage to us on the ground as well. Great quarterback, accurate, strong arm, gets it to those receivers, going to put extreme amount of pressure on our defense. Now, offensively, I think that we do have an advantage up front. We're talking about a team in Washington that, won a lot of high-scoring games, but didn't do a great job stopping the run. I guess they gave up 140 yards on the ground. And some folks, to me, that's a little bit, that's not great, but that's not, that's not shut them down type defense. But then I looked at them, what they gave up through the air. They gave up 270 yards through the air. So I don't know if teams just stopped attacking them during the run game, or they were playing from behind, or they were just getting, having so much success through the air that they decided to attack them that way. So I think that we will be able to go either route. Of course, we want to run the football. Of course, it's advantageous to us to eat up the clock and keep that offense off the field. But at the same time, I think that they're going to come in trying to set up some 7 and 8 man boxes, trying to stop the run and force JJ to beat him on the outside. And I think he can do it, man. So I'm looking at a great game, exciting game. They're going to, definitely make some plays in the passing game. Definitely put our corners to the test. Will Johnson, Josh Wallace, and Mike Sanistrell. But 1 or 2 of those guys are going to make a big play. I look at us winning the game in 31, maybe to 24.
When's the last time Michigan won the? Is it 90? When was the last time?
97, man. 97.
97.
I was a young buck, man. I was just done with high school, brother.
Who was the coach of that team again?
Was that Lloyd Carr?
Yeah, I think
yes, it was Lloyd Carr.
Lloyd Carr. Jordan, obviously you're an Ohio State guy. I know that you're Ohio State. They lost.
I didn't know that.
They lost to Michigan there right there. Is this a Huskies victory? Is this Big Ten? You're still respecting.
Don't be like that, man. Don't be like that.
I got some valid points. Hold on. As Lee Corso says. Let me start by saying it's definitely going to be a competitive game, but I personally am going to give it to Michigan because Washington comes out of the Pac-12. They're not known for defense. They win shootout games. They win high-scoring games. I foresee Michigan really doesn't turn the ball over a lot. They didn't in the Big Ten this year. They didn't in their bowl game against Alabama too much. So I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair. I think it's going to be more of a 38-41 type deal. I think Washington comes out and makes that one mistake that Texas made a week prior. Going into the second half, fumbling the ball. They were down 10 and never quite pulled out of it. I do think that Michigan just has too much defense, and I think that's going to be the big difference. Washington's going to do a lot of razzle-dazzle. That quarterback's going to get his, both running and passing, but Michigan and N is going to make those big-time stops late in the game. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Give me Michigan 41-38. So,
Jimmy, I'm in Pac-12 territory for one more year. You're Colorado out there, Pac-12.
Yeah.
Come on, does Pac-12 pull out? What do you got?
I was going to say we probably have watched a majority of the Pac-12 of the people that are on the show. So, yes, that has been the reputation of the Pac-12, and they rightfully earned that reputation over the last few years. They still score a lot. There's still not the same caliber of defense, but there's not the same caliber of offenses that the Big Ten schools see that what the Pac-12 can bring. So I think that initially it's going to be very close to the vest. They're going to be kind of testing each other, similar to a boxing fight where jab, how does he react to my jab? How does he react when I step this way? I think there's going to be a stretch of the game where both offenses just go off. I think McCarthy has the tools. He has He's one of the coolest guys that I can remember playing college football quarterback. Penix is up there too, but like J.J. McCarthy threw a bad interception, had a very tough game against Alabama, yet still somehow put enough plays together, kept his guys going, and kept everybody calm enough in the huddle that he got offensive player of the game. So I think that his just a spirit, not getting rattled, and Penix being as old as he is and seeing as much college football as he has, there's going to be a stretch where points are flying, and then what defense is going to bunker down? What defense do you have faith in hunkering down and stopping the other when this does happen? Washington's done it in the high-scoring games. They did it against Oregon twice. Beating Oregon twice is not something that anybody should overlook. But I do think that what I saw from Michigan against Alabama, Jalen Milroe is a hell of an athlete, and he looked like he could barely move the way that they were pressuring him, the way they schemed him to the point where – and those backers are damn good. So – all three levels of Michigan's defense give me more confidence. I'm going to say Michigan wins also. I think that Washington deserves their flowers to be here because I did not expect Washington to be here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting match. It's not like our usual ones a little bit. I know Michigan's been in the conversation recently, but like you said, 97. So it's been a long time since we this matchup here with it. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like we're both new to the game. You know, we have been,
exactly.
You know, we're a big brand, if you will, and you know, people talk historically about us, but when it comes down to, we weren't a part of any type of BCS championships. We weren't a part. This is our first dance into the CFP. Of course, in the last couple of years, we were in the semifinals. But again, we're new to the dance too. But this is we can definitely say and pray and say our good things about the Pac-12 and how good it is. And this is a great matchup for the Big Ten Pac-12. But this is the official kickoff of the new improved Big Ten, baby. This is a Big Ten coordination, an introduction to the nation, if you will, about the caliber of football that will be played going forth in the Big Ten. Championship, national championship caliber football, man. One of the old guard in Michigan versus one of the new invitees in Washington, man. So again, man, hey, this is great for the Big Ten, man, baby. This is all eyes on us.
And a good uniform matchup. I like Washington's one of my favorite uniforms. If they wear the purple more, so we'll see what Michigan. I don't know what the actual who's wearing what though. So we'll see. It's always a good uniform matchup there too. So like I said, go Jimmy. Last thoughts on it.
I just want to mention it's for the first time since '91 Washington's been in this spot too. So there's talk about two fan bases that have tasted success. Now they need it back. And yes, I wonder, does anybody know where the money goes? If Washington wins, do they leave it or do they take it with them to the Big Ten? Because if so, then the Big Ten it's already, I think they got the better teams joining them. That's going to be a hell of an advantage if they get the money no matter what in this game.
Oregon State gets it. No, they're the last team.
They should honestly just leave it behind. Like all of Stanford, actually they're private school.
Yeah, they're ACC.
Forget that.
You get it no matter what. All right, so always a big one. The championship game, Washington quarterback shout out. One of my guys out here, Marcus Tuiasosopo. That name, if it rings a bell, anybody out there, X-Rater over here. So those ones, was it Jake Locker, I believe, a quarterback from Washington. They've had a few.
Jake Browning.
Cody Pickett, a couple of them that have made the NFL through the years. So big game tomorrow.
Damon Horde, wasn't it Horde? Damon Horde?
Yeah, you're right. He made it.
Vita Vea was there.
So it'll be a big game tomorrow. It'll be fun. Like we said, 4:30 start there. So it'll be good. Thanks for giving your thoughts on there with Michigan versus Washington. All right, guys. As I call it, we'll go middle of the third of the pod here. We'll be done here in a little bit here. Real quick here, I call this the news and notes segment here. So kind of quick thoughts on it. C-Hen, quick thought. Rest or rust? Do you have a thought on it? It always, the final week of the year, it always comes up. Oh, if we rest this guy, and then your boy Laporte, you have these situations that's like you have to play somebody. You can't just bring up 56 new players and have them play on the team. So, like
Cleveland.
Do you have any? But then I remember back in the day, the one that always makes it stick out to me was the Colts. Like remember they would always win the AFC South, and they would sit their guys, and Big Ben would upset them, or they would lose in the first round. And like I felt like it took more on after that. You got a feeling about either way about it?
Yeah, so I think it's kind of situationally based. When you look at us coming into this week's game, we did somewhat have a shot still at the number 2 seed, so it kind of made sense for us to try to win this football game. Philly lost, and what we needed was Dallas to lose. So, again, those were late games. We didn't know the outcomes of those games. So, I mean, for us, I don't think I really and we're talking about a team that hasn't been to the hasn't regularly been to the postseason. So we don't know kind of what the preparation is. And I think for us, in terms of keeping that momentum going, you want to kind of keep the routine the same as similar as possible going into the playoffs. So unfortunately, injuries do happen.
Yeah.
I would like to see maybe Laporta maybe play a few less snaps, a little bit more blending going on with some of the backups in terms of and the first string guys. But again, who's to say which play he gets hurt on? So, I mean, that's just how it happens, man, unfortunately. But now, if you have nothing to play for, I feel like, or you have a team that's a veteran team that's seasoned, they've gone through this routine of going to the playoffs before, then, hey, rest your guys, get ready for that next week.
I find it interesting with Jordan because the Ravens, to me, are the team that got affected by it a couple of years ago when they had that lead and then they came out flat and they lost. Was it the Titans? Maybe I think it was the first round there.
It was the Titans. That was the Titans AFC Championship.
Yeah, so like I don't know. There's always this weird thing like that sometimes it just comes back and maybe you're flat. I think it's more of a thing of the other team that wins the wild card round. I think that's ultimately where it kind of lies is that momentum. But sometimes it does seem like maybe they're a little off or something. They haven't played in 3 weeks.
But I mean, you've seen success where when the Giants years ago played all their starters against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Week 17, and that ended up being the Super Bowl. So you've seen it work. But I also think about Marvin Lewis's second to last run in the playoffs when we played the Steelers on Sunday night, already having a playoff spot locked in. AJ Green went down. We couldn't play him against Indianapolis. Marvin Jones went down. We missed him against Indianapolis. And just a key room full of injuries. We went to Indy on what was one of the most embarrassing playoff losses in recent history. And Andrew Luck carved everybody up. Sanu was our number one. Didn't really have a number two guy there. So I think it kind of goes both ways. You can either stay sharp or hit that injury. And I think look at Cleveland. 25% of their cap is on the IR already. So most certainly you don't go out against a team that's already a division rival and wants to do nothing more than to maybe hurt you and or play spoiler already. So I think it's just
how much is Marvin Lewis paying you to say his name every time on this show? I feel like the last 3 weeks, that's like that'll be like over and under Marvin Lewis 4 times on there. How is Marvin making his way to the show so much?
Nervous, Jimmy, making you nervous. He's in the Raiders office right now talking.
He's in there working with Mark Davis right now. Hey Jimmy, let me keep it moving here with it. I got to go with the draft order. Just quick thoughts on it. I always like this as the season kind of ends. Just looking at it. Bears, they get the first pick because, yes, we talked about it. The Panthers, they get there. Commanders, Cardinals, Patriots, Chargers, Giants, Titans, Vikings, Bears, your top 10 there. Falcons, Jets, Raiders, Broncos outside of it. That's our order with it. And kind of interesting, the Commanders, your Commanders, they can do it this year. They're going to get your quarterback of the future. I can feel it, right? May. I feel like Trevor May would be the guy he would hate.
Just replace one North Carolina quarterback with another?
I feel like he would lose his mind if they took Trevor May. I wouldn't mind seeing Terrell get a little excited about that, C. Henry, Jimmy. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Jimmy, what do you think? What jumps out to you about that draft order? Anything? Caleb Williams?
It's what the Bears are going to do, because Justin Fields after the game kind of sounded like he was saying goodbye. I said it this morning. I made my feelings about Caleb Williams very clear. I don't think that he's going to come in and light the league on fire. I see more Bryce Young than I see more CJ Stroud and what Caleb Williams is going to do. Who knows what that is actually going to end up looking like. Well, we said it in college. He had the best team. He had Brendan Rice. He had all these weapons. Normally, he was the better team every given Saturday, and he still couldn't put it together in big spots. Arizona State almost punked him on the road this year, and then he did end up losing a few games. I think that what the Bears have with Justin Fields, while it's disappointing to lose today, you didn't get embarrassed. You should have probably won that game. It would be a lot better if you did. I say you have the number 1 overall pick as a luxury. Trade back. You can build this thing. You have been decent at drafting in those middle rounds. It's when you take the big swings that you normally miss. So take away the big swing that you have, gain some more assets from it, see if somebody will give up a player for it too, whoever you might want, and then let's continue to build what we think that we have. I don't know if Eberflus is the answer, but what he did, the way that this Bears team finished up, and if they beat the Browns, they're in legitimate contention for this playoff spot. They were eliminated because they couldn't do that. It's a sour taste in their mouth, but I think what they do with that number 1 overall pick is what's going to be the spark for the rest of the draft.
It'll be, and they have the 10th pick too. Like, like Harrison Jr. jumps out right away. I mean, he might not be worth a number 1 pick, but like you think like you keep Fields and then you bring him in, that kind of, and then the other receiver that came out, they got him from the Panthers last year.
Swap with the Commanders and take Marvin Harrison Jr. second.
Yeah, you're right there. The Commanders, they're like one of those franchises. Like it's almost. I always go to basketball once, but they're like the Hornets to me. Like they're just kind of there, and then once in a while will do something. I don't know what happens with it. So the Commanders, we'll see what they do with that. Jordan, I'm always a little bonus Cardinals there. We'll see what the Cardinals do with it. The Chargers, oh my goodness, Chargers! How do you find yourself picking 5th overall? That's the team that jumps out the most at this list when I see it there. So just I always like to look at that draft there with it there as we kind of get into the Raiders 12th, Broncos 13th pick overall. All right, a couple stats here I get to you as we get to the 4th quarter here of the show. Rams break rookie record. The guy's a stud. Like he just BYU. How do you do it once in a while? BYU finds a way. They find a way with these guys. He gets the Jets. They relish the 15-game wins. The losing streak is over versus the Pats. Somehow it dies. Does Bill Belichick see Henry? Is this his last time walking off the field?
It could be, man. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings over there in New England, and to be quite honest with you, man, they've kind of become stale to me with him over there.
Yeah.
The question with me is, does he go to another team, and will he be just the head coach, or will he be the GM as well? I think for me, the last three or 4 years of him being a GM, has shown that he definitely does not have the best eye for talent. I don't know if I'm willing to, if I'm an NFL franchise, if I'm willing to entrust him with being my GM as well as my coach. So that's going to be a huge discussion. And also, if he is going to go to another team, will he just be fired or resign, or will there be a trade? And who's willing to give up, compensation for him? So, it could be, but he needs to get out of New England, man. They've become a stale franchise, man, with him there.
My buddy's like he doesn't think he's a Patriots fan. He doesn't think they're going to get rid of him, but he does think that the GM title probably needs to go from him there a little bit there. So the Jets, disappointing season there. Jimmy, your brother's Jets, they don't get the job done. It starts from the very beginning. Rodgers there with it. The Rams, their rookie, they get the job done. Jordan, any thoughts on those?
My first thoughts on Bill Belichick is I think he's gone. I don't think teams are going to call for him. He is still Bill Belichick. He does have over a decade of dominance over in New England. Has experience being in Cleveland. Do I think he takes a GM role? He probably doesn't want that. Just outside looking in, he probably wants a smaller role where he can come in, win games, string together some talent, maybe reunite with one of his former workers. This could be like a fantasy stretch for me. Like Detroit sticks out for me. The Raiders love everything to do with the Patriots. Maybe they give him a call.
Detroit. Detroit who?
Matt Patricia, he comes back.
He doesn't have any former workers here anymore. They're gone.
Matt Patricia's
no Patricia, no Quinn. We're good on Bob. We're good on Bill.
No Bill, you're out.
But also a part of me thinks that maybe he can go to the college ranks. But it'd be interesting to see.
That would be interesting. That Bill in college, that would be kind of funny to see. I couldn't see that. Bill Walsh go back to
with the way the NIL is built right now in college, kind of being more of a professional with money and dollar cents to bring in somebody that's already been to the top, can show kind of the youth and even hold the youth in a little bit longer on teams from just exiting into the transfer portal.
Ohio State for Ryan Day? Is that what you're trying to get there?
That'd be a private spot, but I could definitely see him going down.
Ryan Day is doing a wonderful job. I don't even know what the problem is. He's won 50+ games. He's done a wonderful job, man. There's no need. I see no problem with Ryan Day whatsoever.
I see a major Ryan Day.
That's my guy.
Bring Urban Meyer back in a heartbeat.
He's my guy.
That's my guy, dog.
He's my guy. If Michigan's fans call him your guy.
John Cooper, man. That's John Cooper all over again, man. That's our guys, man.
Hey, Jimmy. as we look ahead into the wild card, I kind of briefly told you some of the matchups here. We don't know. It looks like it's probably going to be if Miami holds on to win here, right? They're at 14-7 right now. So I believe if they go on to win, they're going to play Buffalo again next week. I got to talk about this team real quick because for God's sakes, this team is like they're a cockroach. They will never die. Mike Tomlin,
Buffalo, man. Buffalo.
They take 17 straight winning seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They make the playoffs again.
Oh, you're talking about Pittsburgh. Oh, my bad.
I'm talking about Pittsburgh because I don't understand, C. Henry, how this team gets to the playoffs when you have Cody Pickett and you have Mr. Trubisky and you have the other guy, I can't even think of his name, that just came in last week, Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
I don't get it.
He didn't come in last week. 2 years.
Yeah.
Y'all be hating on Mike Tomlin. Even his own fan base is hating on him, man. But the guy gets it done. He gets it done, man. He's a quarterback away in 2 or 3 pieces from getting that team back to Super Bowl contention. But again, they got to hit on some draft picks, man. They got to hit on some draft picks, man.
Yeah, I would rather them. I hate him because I can't stand having somebody that good near me. I just don't want them around anymore. And they can't. It's not fair that one franchise has 3 head coaches in their entire history and as many Super Bowls as they do. It just, the fact that they continue to stick around, the fact that they're going to continue. I don't think that they're going to do much this year because I think that they're depleted, they're injury riddled, and yeah, don't put me down for Mason Rudolph winning a playoff game, or Kenny Pickett, or
they made the playoffs somehow.
I know they made the playoffs. They shouldn't have made the playoffs because you know who should have beat them 2 weeks ago? Jake Browning. You know who wet the bed? Jake Browning. You know what they did the last 2 weeks? They scared teams into submission. It's like they go boo, and nobody knows how to deal with that. They should not have lost even to the Ravens backups yesterday. What? Come on, man. Come on now.
Bengals coach in a second half, and that's been a tall tale story of all year when Browning took under center. They still run the same screens. It drives me crazy. You see the same plays over and over and over again. It's not a different script. And Pittsburgh came out and made the adjustments. And
let me ask you this, man. What happens, or what? How would you feel about Pittsburgh if they somehow acquired if they acquired Justin Fields, if they acquired Kirk Cousins, or if they acquired who else? Maybe Russell Wilson. How would you guys?
Out of the 3, Russell Wilson scares me the least.
Okay,
Justin Fields. Justin Fields actually. Not that I want to play him, but being able to see that style of quarterback play more than just when you're playing Baltimore might not be we might actually be able to figure out how to stop it.
But now imagine it though with Freiermuth, with Deontay Johnson, with Pickett, who just got 1,100 with Willie Lump at the quarterback spot. Now that might not be something a lot of teams want to see, man.
It's not ideal.
The other question
is not ideal.
What would Pittsburgh give up
Never
for?
ideal.
What
would Pittsburgh have to give up for Justin Fields?
I don't know. What do you think? I'm thinking maybe like a second and a fourth, maybe.
I think a starter on the roster and a second or a fourth. One of those defensive guys are going to be called about.
I mean, they're in a position of power.
Those defenses atrocious.
I mean, it'll be interesting with Chicago what they can get if they do put that first pick out on the line, because people know that they have that Fields dilemma there. So it'll be interesting how teams kind of move their way through that. To me, if we kind of look at, I think the most exciting game come the week, if you look at matchups, is going to be Lions Rams. They're going to get some hype just because of the storyline there. I do like that Cleveland Texans matchup as well.
Buffalo just took a 96-yard punt return to tie.
Oh, so there we go. So if they win the division, then they get to play Pittsburgh. That changed, and then you get Miami, Kansas City. So there's still that could be a juicy matchup if you had Kansas City and Miami as well. So, and then it's not a great one, but that Philly Tampa one's still in the back of my head. It's not the worst one for a Monday night, especially given Philly's.
If we get Miami, Kansas City,
yeah,
and Miami gets Mostert and Waddle back, I think Kansas City is the underdog in that game, man. They might be out first round.
I think Kansas City is a first round exit. They have so much animosity going on in the locker room. They've looked terrible the last couple of weeks. They have all the distractions going on. It's just that I'm not, for once in many years, I'm not scared of Kansas City in the playoffs at all.
So is it Kansas City will have to play either Miami or Buffalo?
Yep.
Correct.
Oh yeah, they might be a one and out. It might be one and done. I don't want to put dirt on them, but that's a tough matchup for them.
Kansas City would play Pittsburgh if Miami wins tonight. So that would be that, because if Miami wins tonight, they play Buffalo again next week. So it's almost more beneficial for I would think for Kansas City if they want to play Pittsburgh in the next round.
Kansas City has been a turnover machine. Patrick Mahomes is a record high in turnovers and interceptions. They're going to play that Steelers defense. I don't see him getting past it.
But TJ Watt, he got hurt today too, though. So that's a big factor as well.
Jimmy, what did you say this morning? What's the girlfriend Taylor Swift song that's coming out tonight after the Golden Globes? There's something. We got the Golden Globe. We got Kelsey's single coming out tonight. So he wasn't there. He wasn't there at the Golden Globes.
I think she went to the. Did she not go to the Chiefs game? I think she just
showed her there
on
on TV. They would have showed her on TV. You know that with it. All right. Hey, usually we do game ball for week 18, and we usually do that. But I feel like instead of game ball for who gets week 18, let's get to go to our. We haven't really done this one in a while, but we did it last year on week 18. We'll end the show with this. How about winners and losers for the 2023 regular season? It could be player, coach, announcer. I don't care what it was. CBS sucked at something. I don't care what you're picking for. What is kind of your winner and losers of the season as a whole overall? Jordan, maybe you could get us started. You got a winner of the season possibly here?
Oh, it's definitely hands down the Houston Texans organization. Winners. Winning in the draft, winning a regular season, finding a coach that's a rookie head coach that fit the culture of the locker room, turning around in a 1 year span. You winning the division. Yeah, it's definitely that's got to be the biggest winners of the AFC, in my opinion, in a 1 year turnaround. So definitely going to the Texans.
Took the Texans. You got another one for us, or are you gonna jump on the Texans one as well?
Myself?
For me?
No, yeah. See, Henry, who you got?
You know what? I'm gonna go with Houston. That's a great one. I could jump on that one. I'm gonna go in a different direction. I'm gonna go with the other team. I'm going with Cleveland. You look at all the turmoil that they've had to deal with at the quarterback position. Old man Flacco was on the couch a couple weeks ago. Now he's out there slinging touchdowns to everyone. They lost Nick Chubb along the way. Stefanski to me is a bona fide coach of the year prospect. So a candidate, if you will. So I'm gonna go with Cleveland as a big winner.
Good call there, Jimmy. Who you got?
My winner is Baltimore, because as much as I tried to speak the negativity into existence, they were able to overcome it, and they look pretty dangerous. They look just about as dangerous as they did when Tennessee punked them in the divisional round. This is a more seasoned team, and they got some guys. They got some grit to them. It's a Harbaugh coach team. They're always going to be engaged.
Good call there. So those are some of the winners here. I got a couple for us. Like we said, Tomlin 17 and crazy. Flacco, good comeback year. D'Amico Ryans, Henry retirement speech. McVay and the Rams, they get a little winner love from me as well. Mayfield gets a little love after me with the Panthers. And then when I call my Jeremy Lin of the season, Josh Dobbs mania. That was so that gets a winner. The Josh Dobbs mania there for a couple weeks.
I still don't know why they benched him. Looking at the guys they put in, I still don't know.
It was like I felt like it was Josh. What was it? Tyler was tweeting out there. People like this guy like him more than Josh Allen. He was like freaking out over it. Like it felt like that, man. Like for 14 days, Dobbs was on top of the world there for a few weeks in the NFL. So he gets our winner of the week there, winner of the season there as well. Jordan, get us started with losers here this time. Who you got for loser of the regular season?
Losers. I mean, I obviously the Carolina Panthers. We don't have to touch much on that. Yeah. But I'd almost have to go Atlanta. All the big offseason moves, the veterans that they brought in on defense and the secondary and the line, and the awesome draft that they had, bringing in the running back situation, and just the total mismanagement of the roster from the quarterback down. Absolute losers in a soft division that they really should have won.
Yep.
But there, Saints. But yeah, I just that they're the biggest losers in my opinion.
Good call there. Jimmy, who you got?
Mine's broadcasting because I am the broadcasting nerd. CBS bringing back Matt Millen to broadcast games today. I was subjected to that because my parents wanted to watch the Bronco game, which was horrendous in its own right. But man, he's been out of the booth a while and he's still not that great at it. He was a decent linebacker, is all I'm gonna say, but he's never been my favorite in the booth, and he didn't do any favors today.
And he likes drafting wide receivers, right? That was part of his other thing. He likes drafting them high in their first round.
Terrible GM.
Definitely.
What was it Rodgers, and then was it Roy Williams the next year?
Roy Williams, Calvin. He got it right with Calvin. The third one.
He got Calvin. He got Megatron saved him a little bit with that one. Megatron saved him there. So that was a loser. See, Henry, you got loser of the season.
Yeah,
here?
my loser, man, has got to be, man. I got to go with Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. After you add Calvin Ridley, after you go to the playoffs last year, kind of a year early, if you will. After you have your head coach who's kind of like a quarterback whisperer, and you don't take that next step as a team, you know what I mean? They jumped out to a very, very, very convincing start here in the NFL season, and then they just fumbled right on out of the playoffs. So to me, they were probably one of the biggest losers of 2023.
Good call there. Another team fumbled the bag there, gets a loser. The Chargers, we already mentioned them. They made just as pathetic a season, dumpster fire season there. Tannehill, again, just, I don't know. There's something about him every year. I'm just always like, how does this guy make as much money as he does? So well done to him for getting that contract. But yeah, I just don't know how, as a Titans fan, it'd be rough to watch him. They had to watch him today, but the Jags, you lost to Tannehill. I'm sorry. My gosh, that feels got to feel even worse, sunshine out there. Rodgers goes down early, like I said, first week. Bill Belichick. The reason I say a little loser of the year for me is because of all that Tom Love. You know, like the more of the season went on, it's just like he's getting worse with that as it goes. Yes, he had.
I like that you said the Jets because Joe Flacco was, I believe, on their team last year. Imagine Joe Flacco throwing the football to Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall on that offense. And, I mean, you had him on your team last year. You didn't re-sign him. He was on the couch for so long. You didn't reach out to him. Come on, man. The Jets definitely fumbled the bag, man.
They wanted Zach Attack. They wanted him in there. They wanted him to take care of it. And then the last one, just because I got the Bengals guys on, and it does suck. To me, this was a big loser just because I enjoy watching him play. The Burrow injury to me was kind of a loser part of the season. I just enjoy watching him play. And the Bengals were a good team with Chase out there. And, just would have been fun to see them play Mahomes again or something like that. So I always feel like that's a bummer.
I honestly bring this season on the front office. No, seriously.
Yeah, I hear you.
With the leg injury with Burrow in the offseason, and we started the year 1-3. How much worse would it have been under a veteran quarterback than putting him on IR for the first 4 weeks of the season, letting him heal properly? I mean, I think the season would have went completely different than going shotgun the entire time and running almost predictable RPOs because he had no pocket presence, he had no timing with the receivers. We once again didn't play anybody in the preseason. That makes such a difference. I really think that there was no timing, new offensive lineman again, new right tackle, new left tackle, no time together before the season started, quarterback injured. This was a complete fumble from the front office. They didn't manage the injury correct. They didn't manage the roster the right way. It's just kind of a wasted season. Granted, we had a winning record and we did play in a division where everybody had a winning record in AFC North, and we're the only division to do that this year. So, hats off. Granted, we're 1-5 in the division games, but hats off to what is the toughest division in football, in my opinion. The AFC North is no joke. So,
and it was weird too that they hung on because they had so many quarterback injuries during the year too that you guys hung on to kind of that standard throughout the year. So, all right. So that's our Sunday night update here. As we kind of put a little bow on the show, as I still got it 14-14 here. Looks like Buffalo has the ball driving. A lot to still behold here. As we kind of Sunday night, still a lot of things to be kind of figured out with the playoffs in terms of the AFC, but we have all the NFC figured out. We gave you the schedule there with it. C. Henry, thank you, man, for taking the time to join us this week on Talk the Gridiron. Maybe we can get you on a playoff show if the Lions go deep into the episode there with it. Love your podcast. always follow you on Twitter. But appreciate you. I was glad we finally able to kind of make this work. So I know it's late your time. Appreciate you coming on. And where can we find you out there? Where can people kind of find your podcast out here?
Yeah, man, you can definitely follow me on Twitter, Twitch, X, whatever you're calling it, at CHEN313. You definitely can find my podcast, The Fellas Present Sports Rap, kind of a sports show that with some interludes of some of my favorite rap music from here, current and past. So you can find that on Google Podcasts as well as Spotify, and that's The Fellas, DA Fellas Present Sports Rap.
And he's got a big game tomorrow. Got Michigan there.
Yes, sir.
They got that going with it.
Yes, sir.
So we got there. So appreciate you taking the time to jump on here with it. Jordan Maxson, appreciate you jumping on, basically week 6, week 7, something like that, enjoying the rest of the way with the show. It's been fun kind of getting to know you a little bit over talking the gridiron here. Appreciate you taking the time and giving your thoughts on it. Sorry about your Bengals this year with it, but it's been fun getting your thoughts with the show overall, and I look forward to doing it more with you in the playoffs.
Sorry about your Buckeyes.
Little salt in the wound.
He's not sorry about the Buckeyes at all.
As he's laughing over that. No, he's not sorry.
I'm not sorry at all.
I'm sorry. Jordan, thanks, man. That's been good. Appreciate it, man. Been good time with it. Jimmy Pilato, 2 regular seasons? Our second year now. We finished from season 1 to season 2. I'm just impressed we're able to keep a podcast going like that for 2 years. It's always been a pleasure, my friend, to with my co-host here with it, Jimmy. It's been good, man. Another good year in the books here. Look forward. We're going to do a little playoff episodes here. That'll be different than last year, but another regular season. So always fun to do it with you again, my friend.
Yeah, it was a good season. I'm glad we got to do it.
Well, for Jimmy Pilato, for Jordan Maxson, for C. Henry out there and those Michigan Wolverines, I'm Daren Breyer, Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports. We'll see you in the playoffs, people. Talking the gridiron. We're out. Peace.